But when you start having these types of conversations, you start creating the type of relationships and connections that you really want, instead of having ones that you only get to keep if you aren't yourself. How often do you allow other people to decide how you will spend your time together? What you will do, when you will do it, what will you talk about? You're showing up, but you leave feeling empty, unfulfilled, and like you can't be yourself. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on how that form of people-pleasing is preventing genuine connection. Hey lady, welcome to the Highly Sensitive Woman podcast. Do you struggle with self-doubt, setting boundaries, or feeling overwhelmed? My name is Alyssa, and I'm a highly sensitive woman who spent years trying to fit in, ignoring my own needs, and living in constant fear of disappointing others. But I finally discovered the power of embracing who I am, and now I don't feel so broken. In this podcast, you'll learn to find your voice, set boundaries, and live with bold confidence and inner peace. Grab a cozy blanket. It's time to connect with someone just like you. It is episode 20 of The Highly Sensitive Woman, and I am so glad that you are here because today I'm talking about something that I have been noticing coming up for my clients over and over and over again. It is this common theme, and it's one of wanting to feel safe to express their thoughts and feelings, to be accepted for who they are, and to connect with others in a deep and meaningful way. And I want you to know that people-pleasing prevents this from happening. So one of the ways that people-pleasing shows up in our lives is that we allow others to always make the decisions about how we will spend our time together. And for decades, I had this pattern of deferring to what the other person wanted to do. The activity, the day, the time, every single one of the details, never really expressing what I wanted to do or how I wanted our time together to look. And this happens in all of our relationships. It can happen in our familial relationships, our friendships, romantic relationships. We keep things internally, but it is critical that we get them out and verbalize them externally. Because when you keep them inside, and you don't tell the other person what it is that you're thinking, what you're desiring to do, you're doing both of you a disservice. It is you not saying what you want, but for the other person, you're not giving them a chance to really accept you for who you are. You're kind of assuming for them that they won't like the quote-unquote real you, and so you're not allowing them to really make a decision for themselves. And ultimately, when you're feeling all of that, just yuck, that's what I'm going to use to describe it. Just the yuck that comes from keeping all of that inside and not expressing who you are and feeling like there is something wrong with you. It is going to come out anyway, just maybe not in the way that is authentic and genuine to you. And when we don't express it, the other person has no idea what is really going on. And so it's left to interpretation. And they may or may not be interpreting that correctly. So they might be making assumptions about you that are inaccurate simply because you haven't clearly expressed what it is that's going on in your brain. When you do express those thoughts, though, it creates an opportunity for them to see who you really are and decide for both of you if this is a good fit. Because when you are allowing yourself to be who you really are and you are people-pleasing, you don't actually know if this other person is a good fit for you or not. And they don't either because they don't know who you really are. When you start expressing it, the relationship may or may not progress. And I know that part can be really painful. The rejection that could come and I say could because we have no way of knowing, but the rejection that could come with allowing yourself to be who you are is painful. I don't want to pretend like it's not. But there is the other side of that, of when you plant the seed of authenticity, you become more of who you were created to be. And that's when you start genuinely connecting with people and you start attracting the people who are a good fit for you. So a handful of weeks ago, I had one of these incredibly vulnerable conversations where I just laid it all out on the table. We have kind of our real selves, and when we are tapped into our core part, our real selves, we are calm and we are curious and compassionate and confident. We are clear, we are creative, and we are connected. That's the real you. And it doesn't have all of those kind of confusing feelings and thoughts and emotions that come from the different parts that have developed over time because of our life experiences. And so knowing that I have these different parts of myself, in preparation for this conversation, I had a very meaningful conversation with the part of me that was feeling anxious and fearful. And I asked that part some questions. I asked her, what did she think was going to happen if I had the conversation? And when she answered with all of her fears, I asked her what she needed from me if those things actually happened. And then the anxious and fearful part of me and I talked through how I could provide those things that she needed so that no matter how the other person reacted, that part of me knew that she and I would be okay. So when the day came and I was ready to have this conversation, I prefaced it by telling the other person that I was going to have a big moment of vulnerability to kind of help set the tone and give a bit of an explanation for why I was so nervous. From my perspective, the words came out all kinds of wrong. I mean, I fumbled over them like crazy. I could not make eye contact with the other person and was looking everywhere but them. And it was still worth it. Because here is what happened. This conversation benefited me because I expressed what I was feeling internally. It benefited the other person because they knew exactly what my perspective was. It allowed them to share their thoughts on the subject. It benefited the relationship because it was a step forward in establishing open communication as a normal component of how the two of us interacted. And when you have that open communication, that's when you have genuine connection because both people get to show up as their true, authentic selves. It doesn't mean that you will now agree on everything with this other person or that there will never be conflict. It also doesn't mean that the relationship will be a good fit. But when you start having these types of conversations, you start creating the type of relationships and connections that you really want instead of having ones that you only get to keep if you aren't yourself. And more than anything, I know that each of us just wants to be accepted for who we are. I hope this was helpful and that you have a great week. Take care. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds and share it with a friend who may be feeling like she's broken too? I'd love it if you'd leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. It brings me so much joy to know this podcast is helping you. Now it's time for me to stop talking and go soothe my senses in nature. I'll meet you back here next week for another episode. Take care.